G'day, welcome to Epic Humans. Today I am interviewing Matt Sammut of Untamed Hearts. Welcome, Matt. How are you going today, brother?
Thanks, my man. I'm fucking going really good. How are you?
Yeah, man, pretty good, pretty good. Just plugging away, loving the opportunity to talk to all sorts of interesting people throughout this podcast. Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it, getting some great feedback. So, Matt, Untamed Hearts, tell me what that is.
Untamed Hearts. Um, yeah, that's my business, but also it's it's my message really, and what I'm trying to bring into the world, and trying to help people see in themselves. And the name in itself gives it away, where it's your heart. It's your fucking heart. So don't let anyone tame it, not even your own fears or those around you, or you know, it's just about what do you want, what do you truly love, what serves you, what serves others, what serves the planet. Um, yeah, what makes your heart sing? Really, just putting it out in the world, um, with no fear.
Mm. Yeah, I love it. And like you say, the name is so descriptive. Like I really, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, because we do. We're like we've sort of put ourselves into a box because we're told this is how you have to behave. You got to go to school, you got to go to university, you got to feed the machine. And I was like, yeah, just that the message in just those two words, "Untamed Hearts," is it's powerful, brother. So yeah, and I'm really feeling that energy of just reminding people of discover who you are.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just discovering, it's fucking fight for it. Put
Mm,
put the fight, put your energy and your power into what's fucking true for you, man.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's so interesting that we're not told. We're not even told that that's even an option.
Mm.
Yeah. And how's it going? Are you helping some people on their journeys?
Yeah, it's gone really well. Um, and it's really revealing itself, um, especially this last couple of weeks, where the foundations of it are really starting to reveal themselves to me. Um, yeah, it's coming together really well. Um, I've got clients that we're having very powerful sessions, and it's really identifying where the fears are. Where are they? Where do they come from? And without the ability to surface those things, you have very little chance. Um, but yeah, it's going really well. I've made a program, a 4-week one, and I've run it with some people, and it's been very powerful.
Hmm.
But what I've really learned from that is it needs to be much bigger, because the stuff that I'm trying to teach is not something you can just uh, read about, learn about, and that's it. It's a lifestyle change. It's mastery. It's you need to practice it and put it into use and see the results to then fully integrate it as a normal state of being.
Mm.
So yeah, it's got momentum. It's got momentum, and yeah, lots of ideas are coming to me. And what I've really noticed on my journey as well is, yeah, all the lessons that I've picked up on the way and all the discoveries are all coming together to create this bigger journey that I'm creating now. So yeah, all the pieces that come together.
Yeah. Beautiful, brother. I love that. Oh, so okay, so I sign up for your program. You know, where do we start? What gets the energy going? Tell me about what you're doing for people, man.
I'll speak about the new one that I'm working on.
Hmm.
Um, it's addressing um, two main things. One one is liberation of pain, blockages, fears, the shadow, liberating ourselves from that. So there's a journey in that. And for me, it's obvious that that is the most important thing before we do anything else. Because if you haven't got a hold of that, then it's unconsciously going to come in and stuff anything else up. So initially, we're looking at that stuff. We're going into the shadow, we're going into the dark, and we're getting the gold in the dark because that's that's where it's at. That's where the good stuff is, and that's where there's unconscious things that are uh, have a lot of power in there because we run from them. So yeah, starting we're going into that, just starting softly, and then as we're going deeper and deeper and deeper, and learning, teaching others how to do the process themselves, because the whole idea is to have self mastery, to understand, okay, something's happening for me here, right? I know what to do, and then do it themselves.
Mm.
So that's the first block, and then the second block is, um, and also with that first liberation part, we're going up the chakras. We're going up through the different chakras, um, and we mix that with yoga and checking in on the chakras, and working out why there's blockages in certain chakras. What's the story around it? How can we heal it? Um, and working right up to the top. And then with the manifesting, it's the other way around. It's going into the imagination again, going to the dark, going into the intuitive side, picking up on ideas, things that feel true, and then going down the chakras, and then that's the manifesting block. So yeah, that's just it roughly, but predominantly focusing on the liberation part because that's the most powerful, I feel.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree because I've seen again and again people try to bypass the shadow.
Mm,
You know, they're like, okay, I'm not enjoying my life, and I want to manifest all this wonderful stuff. But what keeps happening again and again is those shadows because they haven't been looked at.
mm,
We're just like, and they're really clever, those shadows, huh? Like, it's not like they've got one tactic. It's like, okay, used to it, and then, oh, you might see it, and you go, okay, well, I'm going to do this different. And then what they do, you know, your shadows, or some people call it your ego, whatever you want to speak of it as, it changes its tactic. And then you're, oh, what's this? And it'll keep doing that until you actually address it. And it's not even a matter of going, oh, the shadows are all bad either. It's a matter of like acceptance that they're there.
mm,
You know, so yeah, it's beautiful that you're doing it that way. I feel like really, and yeah, it's work for people. Like you got to be pretty brave in this too. I feel,
mm,
you know, it's not for the faint of heart because
mm.
as those shadows come up, oh my God, you are going to have some tough times. You know.
Yeah, it's taking the plunge is always the hardest thing. It's that first admitting there's something up, you know,
Yep.
and no one wants to do that. No one's in a rush to admit that maybe there's something they've got wrong, or maybe there's something going on for them, right? Because they've spent their whole lives functioning from this part of them. Um, so yeah, it's and then you're going into that plus your fears. So people aren't lining up to fucking jump into that.
They should not. Yes. Yeah. But and it's also too like admitting that you can't do it by yourself.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a big lesson for me over the years. Like, you can read the books and, you'll get a little, oh, yeah, I feel better. And that might go for a week, it might go for a month, but then those same things will come up. And it's the actual, like, the seeking of the help, I feel, is when, like, the real transformation begins.
Mm.
And it's also very interesting, and I strongly, like, I believe this and will always believe this, that as soon as you ask for the help, it'll pretty much appear. That next step will appear if you're willing to look for it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I know that before I did any coaching of any kind, no way I would have listened to anyone or taken any kind of reflection. I was so stubborn in that respect. Um, but as soon as I had some lessons and had some realizations, um, and realized, oh shit, there's actually a lot of gold in this.
Mm.
I just dived into it and completely changed my life. So yeah.
So what were you like before it? Like tell me about the before Matt and the after Matt. I'd love to know.
Yeah, before Matt, yeah, I guess I've always had a lot of energy and um, I've never known how to direct that. And yeah, and not knowing that I had an ego and this shadow or knowing much about it means that that part ruled me. Um, so with this mixture of this high energy and then this shadow aspect, um, yeah, I was highly anxious. I've been very anxious for the majority of my life, um, and quite had quite the temper too. So I was very like high energy and unpleasant internally. I tried to not project,
Mm.
um, but yeah, I still had that anxiety, and when you feel like that, it's hard not to express that. But yeah, before that, before the old Matt was yeah, anxious, didn't know what to do, confused, and also knew there was always like a deeper truth to life, and that how we were living was wrong, or there was a better way, um, and just I could always sense the inauthenticness in everything, and just left me with that tension in my body of not knowing how to work it out, which kind of made me, yeah, anxious and angry.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like you've always been pretty intuitive, but without the tools, like without the knowledge of what the intuitive language looks like.
Mm,
Because we're not taught that, are we? Like we're very head based in this society. Um, and I feel like, yeah, a lot of people are going through a similar story where they do have that. Like I was the same. Yeah, and look, I still have bad days. I'm sure you do too. You know, but it's how you deal with it. And for me, it's like the difference between. Yeah, I actually realized recently is like I used to be anxious all the time,
mm,
but now when I get anxious, I really feel it. And there's some days I'm like, oh my god, this is horrible. And then I remind myself that this used to be my normal state. And it was so permanent that I had no idea.
mm.
All I knew was that I had that uneasy feeling deep down. I didn't know how to express it. I didn't even know how to admit to myself that it was going on.
Mm.
So yeah, big lessons. So what was
Yeah.
your first, like, what modality did you first discover that got you on this path?
What do you mean by modality?
Like what teacher did you find? What style of yeah, what were your first lot of tools that you learnt that made you realize all this was going on?
Um, yeah, looking back at it now, I feel like it wasn't a coincidence that it all kind of unfolded. Um, but yeah, the business I was working for was a very high tech business, like new technology, and the CEO was highly intuitive and really had a lot of respect for that uh, field of the human. And yeah, so as a result, he had a like a coach in there, and that's how I first came across this work. Um, and but the biggest thing was actually um, going into this emotional pain that I had locked away so deeply. And I remember that like we went into that, and I had no idea I had this thing locked away, no idea. And he surfaced it, and when it hit me hard. It was like, oh my God. And it was just like a sudden realization that I've locked stuff away, and there's a lot of healing to be done. Um, so yeah, I want to say by chance, but I don't think it's by chance. You know, nothing's by coincidence. Yeah. So the coach at my last business sort of introduced me to this work.
Wow, that's so cool. And it's so interesting, isn't it, that because I've had well, not debates, but yeah, some people don't realize that how this energy is stored in our bodies. Like for me, yeah, I got to a point where I just wasn't functioning. Like I was so out of touch and had so much stored emotion. And the problem is once we learn to store it, that the anger is unacceptable, that the sadness is unacceptable. We basically start building a dam of emotion.
Mm,
And that's why, yeah, so many people have, emotional outbursts and anger issues or depression, anxiety, because like depression and anxiety, it's seldom really just one incident. It's just we haven't learned how to process what's
mm.
going on. And eventually, when that cup gets too full, the emotion has to go somewhere. And until we learn how to really release it, um, it's so cool that you just happen to come across someone like that. It's
Yeah. And once I saw the truth in it, I was like, nothing else matters.
mm, mm, yeah, I love
But yeah, I
that.
know what you're saying with the emotional um, blockages, man. It's so, how do you explain to someone there's energy blocked in your body? Like you can't even, if someone's not really, if someone's going to like question that, it's like, it's just a waste of your energy. But the
Yeah,
experience talks for itself.
but people do. Like people think that chronic back pain, for instance, is just you've just got to work on the muscles and
Mm,
I get people, I don't like to exercise and this is why I've got chronic back pain. And it's like, well, have you ever thought that maybe there's like emotion stuck in there? Like, and I've just started learning about how different types of emotion will get stored in different parts of your body. Like I remember it was a little while ago, but teacher told me just here, that spot there between your thumb and your index finger, that stores feelings of guilt and grief. And it was so funny. I was like, yeah, I'm really tender there. And 2 days later, that bit swelled up like on both hands. And so then what I did that night, got home and I meditated and was breathing into that spot, which was another trick I'd learned over the years. And then, yeah, then just felt that the energy and then memories pop up,
mm,
which is so, it's amazing that like actual memories will be stored in those bodies and they're the memories that we haven't been able to emotionally process. And what that also does is, like we have our data bank, which will dictate how we react to different situations. So if you've got these stored memories and something happens that reminds you of one of those stored memories, you're going to behave in that same way until you can release it. And yeah, it's really the only way forward, like on a deep level, because
Mm.
yeah, and I think again, a lot of people rely on antidepressants and anxiety medication, and it's really just like it's putting a band-aid
Mm.
over a gaping wound. It really does nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you always got to go deeper with
Mm.
everything. You always got to go deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. So you also like you said part of your program is you do yoga as well.
Mm.
Can you tell me about what style of yoga you do and what got you into that and what it's done for you as a person?
Yeah, Kundalini yoga. And I couldn't ignore it when I first came across it because I'd never heard about it before. And then all of a sudden, I heard about it in like 3 times within a week. So it was like synchronicities. I've got to check this out. And then yeah, went to my first Kundalini yoga class and had no idea what I was signing up for. It was, you know, for a new person going into it, you're just like, well, this is pretty out there because there's a lot of chanting and body movement and a bit of singing. But the whole intention of it is to liberate yourself of these emotional blockages. And yeah, I remember when I first started, when I went to my first class. This was when I was still like really fresh with that first experience with visiting a pain that I had locked away deeply. So this was still very tender. Um, yeah, I went to the yoga class, and then every session, like I just cried because I was moving energy into my heart, like emotional blockages, and yeah, I was like, okay, this is so powerful. I've got to keep doing this. And yeah, so I kept doing it, and I think probably for like 3 months, I had like every time I did the yoga, I cried every time. So um, my heart was just like so closed and so like hurt, and I was just flushing out years and years of suppressing it. So it's no wonder it took so long to yeah move that blockage. And now I don't cry as much, but every now and then it'll happen. But more for me now, I'm more connected to my heart.
Mm.
And if I feel I want to cry because I have that connection now, it just happens. So I'm not blocking it. So I don't need to do the yoga so intensely because I've built that relationship. But the yoga, what I've really found, Kundalini yoga, is just it's like a science, um, and it's very much a tool for that, for emotions, getting connected with the body, releasing crap, and raising our vibration. So yeah, yeah,
Mm. Wow, that's powerful. Yeah, I'm because you've told me a bit about it before, but yeah, I'm really waiting for Melbourne to open up so I can get into something like that. I really feel like I could do with some more physical practice. Definitely. And it's like you're saying, just having that ability to be able to connect in with yourself, it's huge.
mm,
Um, like I sort of feel like I've got my 2 kids, and yeah, I notice kids today, well, mine anyway, tend to be a bit more expressive with their emotions. They're learning. We certainly came from the generation that you know boys don't cry.
yeah,
You know, you're not allowed to get angry. You're not allowed to argue with your parents. It was But our parents didn't know any better either. So
Mm.
I'm not going, oh, our parents are the worst because wow, look at their parents. It is like we are. I sometimes feel like we're the last of the dinosaurs in so many
Mm.
ways. Like the world is really opening up, and it's also I notice these days, and sometimes I'm guilty of it of myself, where people think that everything's bad. Oh, there's just so much craziness in the world, and for me, it feels like everything's opening up, and that's why it feels difficult. But in fact, what I really believe is going on is all this beautiful knowledge is being shared, all this emotion that's been stored for generation upon generation is coming to the surface. And the sooner we deal with it, like for me, is I want to put as little of my stuff onto my kids. And I've been on my own journey too, and I see some of the stuff how I used to be when my kids were young, and it's affected them. I can see it. I'm also not going, oh my god, I'm the worst parent ever. Like as a parent, our job is to grow, and hopefully, yeah, our kids see that. But it's so good that you're getting all this stuff done before you've even thought about having babies.
Yeah, it was just so obvious to me that I had fucking shit to sort out anyway. So I was never gonna bring kids into the world until I sorted my own shit out. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's good because plenty of people don't, man.
Yeah.
Plenty of people just continue the same cycle. Yeah, and I've always said, I've probably mentioned this before in interviews because I believe it's so true, but I feel lucky that what my journey was big enough that I felt I wasn't functioning properly. Like it's where everyone in the world has trauma. And what I realized is that it's actually the big traumas that are the biggest blessings because they're the easiest to go, you know what? This isn't right. But it's the people who have all the little traumas that just mistake, like, and you see it again and again. They mistake what they think is their personality is them. They're so caught up in the separation of self compared to the whatever you want to call it, the universal energy, the great unconscious. But we're all energetically connected, and so many people just seem to go through their life thinking that, oh well, this is just who I am. I get angry sometimes. I sometimes lose my shit. Sometimes I get depressed.
Mm.
Or I am a depressed person, or I am an anxious person. I'm shy, or whatever their story is. Everyone's got stories, and the thing is, we've got options. It's pretty cool that you've chosen to go. You know what? I've got these stories, but what are they? What's really me? And what is the trauma? Pretty powerful, brother.
Thanks, man.
So, what are the plans for the future with Untamed Hearts? Have you named your next course?
No, not yet. It's still in the works.
Yep.
But yeah, I have big visions of creating a really powerful initiation processes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to really, how I see it is the journey that I had, and the things that I learnt. Um, if I'd learned them a lot sooner, my energy would have been a lot better spent and would have been of more service to what is true. So it's like for me, I really want to create something for the next generations that just fast tracks everything that I've learned. Um, and what's true, what's true, what actually matters. So, and what I've really discovered is all through history, we've always had initiation processes, and they don't exist anymore, And so, yeah, I just feel very drawn to creating a powerful initiation process. Um, got lots of ideas, and really, I'm kind of drafting that up now. But I feel that's just going to evolve and evolve, become more and more powerful, and there's just branch off into different things. So yeah, that's kind of the big project I'm working on at the moment. And I just see so much potential and so much power in it. And yeah, I'm really excited for it. It feels very true for me.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, and it's so true about the initiations that we don't get.
Mm.
Like I think as kids, we just have this illusion that we're going to suddenly feel like we're adults. Yeah, and then you get to your 20s, doesn't happen. Get to your 30s, still looking for that moment where you're going to wake up and it's all going to hit, and it just doesn't.
And there's no information available either.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and it is. It's yeah. I sort of see it as, so what happened when we had our industrial revolution, like in Europe, and suddenly all these people that were living in villages got sent over to the city to feed the factories, and people went crazy because they lost the structure of their society. They just, it created such a big disconnect between people and themselves. And again, it's so good that we got like warriors like you that have decided, like, wait a minute, there's ways that we used to know
Mm.
that still are relevant. And the thing is, if you look at, I think it's epigenetics, which is the idea that we've got codes in our DNA that are unlocked and are existing because of what our ancestors did.
Mm.
So, and that can be, it can be fear based, it can be all sorts of things, but I really see it as, yeah, these rites of passage, these initiations that we don't receive anymore. And it's like there's part of us that is waiting for that,
Mm.
waiting for that to be declared you are a man of your village. It's bringing your power back. And that seems to be what's lacking too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's focusing the power on what actually matters, what's true, what's of service, rather than feeding the the fears, which is just a complete waste of energy. Just energy just feeds bullshit. And I like how you touch on the ancestors because yeah, our ancestors have done so much work for us, and it's all available to us. It's just, and we've lost that connection to that. And there's just so much gold in everything. Like look at astrology, and all those kind of systems. It's like all our ancestors have done the work for us, and it's up to us to take those tools and that knowledge and merge it into today, ground it in um today's world.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. It's true. And we need it,
Yeah.
especially now. Like the world has gone crazy. But the thing is, like, it's not just now. It's what's been building up. It's the last couple of 100 years of human history have really, like, look, I'm also grateful that I get to live in this time. Like we live in the most amazingly miraculous time in human history.
Mm.
Like with technology and and knowledge. We have so much at our fingertips, yet we spend our whole lives with these blinkers on.
Mm.
And we're so caught up in our own little piece of drama, our own little, like with these little islands that aren't even aware of what's going on around us.
Yeah, the same reoccurring story, right?
Mm. Yeah, the same recurring story. That's exactly right. And we again and again, we really just keep falling into that trap. We've got to fit in. This is what your life should look like. You'll finish school and then you'll either do an apprenticeship or you'll go to university. Then you'll meet someone, then you'll have children and you'll get your mortgage. And we're taught, all we're taught in schools mostly is just how to exist. So it's no wonder that we're not satisfied. Like, why would anyone be satisfied with just existing? You know? So it's so good that you've decided to move beyond that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, I love it, dude. And this idea, and you're thinking like initiations. Are you thinking, weekend workshops? Are you thinking online, or is it going to be all of the above, like whatever people can show up for?
I feel like it's going to evolve, and
Mhm.
I feel things are going to branch off, um, where there's different intensities, where it could be, we're somewhere for a week straight, or, I'm not quite sure yet. Those ideas are still floating. But what I am what I am working on now is like, what are the things that need to be learnt? What are the essential things? And teaching those. And if there's more powerful ways to do each individual thing, which might maybe branch off to another thing, I'll have to wait and see. The creations, what I'm creating is unfolding as it goes. So I need to create it, practice it, and then evolve it. Just like with my first program I made it, I used it, and it was powerful, but it's like, nah, there's a much better way I can do this. And
Mm,
that triggered the idea that I'm doing now. Which, once I implement this next one, that's going to trigger even more things. So time will tell.
mm, yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it, and it is. It's an ever evolving process, and it's also a recognition. Um, like my own journey. I do the counseling. I love helping people with their shadows and shift that. Um, but for so long, I was thinking I wasn't ready yet.
Mm,
And then what I realized is we're evolving constantly. And the best thing we can do is share what we already know as we continue to learn. There's really, if we're just holding on to it or waiting for that day until we feel like, oh, I'm a complete guru, it's never going to happen.
mm.
And we will attract the people that are right for us where we're ready to teach. Yeah. 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 Love so much of what you're doing and so much. I look forward to watching where your creations go. And yeah, hopefully getting to take part in some of this work with you, brother. I'd really love that.
Thanks, brother. And same to you, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, so thanks for coming, Matt. It's really been such a pleasure to talk to you. Yeah, hopefully people out there have got some little tidbits of good information. And yeah, so thanks everyone out there for listening. You can get onto Matt. You got a website and stuff up yet, Matt?
You just find me on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, I'll share all Matt's contact info on the comments below. So anyone who wants to get in touch with Matt and do some of his most powerful work, yeah, I'd love to help Matt grow as he's helping me. So thanks everyone. Have a beautiful day and remember to always stay rascally. See yous.